particular page. All right, good, welcome. So we have 2 recordings, so that's good. Okay, now we're talking about this sutram, upapadam ating. Upapadam ating. Now, in Samasa Sutrams, you will normally have one padam will be prathama-antam. That's upapadam in this case. And the other one will be tritiya-antam.
Oh, Shamita. No, nasti.
Nasti, okay. You have a, so here we have upapadam, is the prathama-antam. And the prathama-antam, because sup, supa, anuvritti, remember that, sup with another sup. So, subantam, samarthena, subantena, saha, samasyate. That's the general vritti of all these sutras. Is one sup connects with compound with another sup pratyaya. Subanta pada. Here he says upapadam. So upapadam, but the other word that's going to compound with this will not be a subanta. Is samarthena shabdantarena samasyate. It will be some other term. Shabdam is term, but not a. Let's go to the Ashtadhyaya for a section, for a second, I should say. Let me just. Okay, we don't need this activity. I'm sorry, wrong page. Ashtadhyaya searches. Okay. Let's go to this 2.2. What's in 2.2.19? Okay, upapadam ating. It says atingantam, which is not a tinganta. Samarthena shabdantirena saha samasyate. Nityam tat purusha cha samasa bhavati. So what is that? You have the when you have this you can form in non-tinganta can be used, can be formed with this to form, as long as sup is not ready, it's okay. It should not be tinganta. So then, but under that, is the reason I'm coming to that is that the 2.2.20 says amaeva avyayena. So ama eva avyayena. Ama eva avyayena. So if you have an avyaya which is being compounded like that, it should be only the ammanta, ama eva. So that's why this is the only one, this namul which we saw, which is a kudanta which can go and form samasas. So you cannot use a twa, those cannot be used to form samasa. This one can be used. So if you have another indication of that, if you have a samasa and which is forming this and you have the amanta kudanta form there, it's probably going to be namul. Like the Gita example, rasa varjam. We have a compound there, and we have the term varjam which is ending in So it's probably going to be this namul pratyaya, ama vyavena. So this is the one. So this is ama eva. This ama is this. This is the one. The amantena. Amantena means namulantena. Is what it means. Okay, so that was the namul section which we saw last time. Now and again, I think we have to correct this thing in the book. It is samula ghatam vyanashayad darin. That vyanashayad you have to correct. You have to make it the same dhatu han, because in the section of the yathavidyanu prayoga. Okay, coming to the next page, number 129, we have a thing called tumun. Tumun. The tumun is a good news, bad news. The good thing about tumun is that the formation is kind of straightforward. The formation is straightforward because this is not a kit pratyaya, not kitnit. So there will be generally the puganta lagupatasya gunaha and the sarvadhatuka ardhadhatuka yoha gunaha will take place. So if you have like a word like dhatu like ni will become netum, jetum, and so on. It will become bhoktum. So and then the idagama will be generally as per the dhatu patha. There will not be that many special rules. I don't think there are any special rules for this tuman. So idagama vyavastha is straightforward. There's no kitnit coming into play here. So it's quite easy. The only slightly complicated thing here is the meaning in which it comes. There are about 3-4 meanings which are not in one single place in Ashtadhyaya because of some anuvrittis and things like that. So let's go look at them. The main meaning is 3.3.10. The 3.3.10 sutram. And Antoine has not given here, I think he refers to part 1, but we can just review it for a second. The 3.3.10 in Ashtadhyayi says, it comes in 3.3.10, says, Kriyartha Kriyayam. So, this is Tumun Nulau Kriyayam Kriyarthayam. So when let's go to the vritti there. Let's go to 3.3.10. That's the main sutram for the tuman. It says tuman valau kriyayam kriyarthayam. So it says kriyarthayam kriyayam upapade. When the upapada is there, dhator bhavishyati kale. That is again the typos here. Bhavishyati should be kale. Tuman nulau pratyayau bhavataha. So when he goes, let's just take the example, bhoktum vrajati. Bhoktum vrajati. So he is going. So that kriya of going is being done for the sake of another kriya. So the going action is being done for the sake of the eating action. When such action is there as upapada, when it's present around, then the main action, then the other action will take the tumun. So vrajati, so action of going is being done. That action is being done for the sake of another action, which is the eating action. The eating action will take the tumun pratyaya. So bhoktum vrajati. It can also become the pratyaya nul bhojako vrajati. That's much less common than the tumun. Okay? So that's the main use of this tumun. And it's very, very, very common use. But there are about 2-3 more usages, and those come in different places. The one place it comes is in the 3.3 towards the end. There is one, like you can say, drashtumichhami te rupam. So in Bhagavad Gita, drashtumichhami. Now it's not like the desiring is being done for the sake of another action, but it's just he's desiring, to see. So that comes in the 3.3. It says, Samanakartrikeshu tuman. So when the ichchata dhatu is there, it has the same karta. So I desire to see myself. It's not like I desire for you to see. I have to say, bhavati pashyati iti aham ichchami. You have to make a sentence. So you can say, bhavati pashyati iti aham ichchami. So it will not take tuman. But if it has the same karta, is having a desire to do something, and the chartha dhatu is there. So you can say bhoktum ichchami, bhoktum vanchami, so these kind of usages. Let's go to 3.3.157. That's the second sutram. 3.3.1. It's not like first, second like that, but it's also a very important use because the chartha dhatus are very common. Drashtum ichchami, vaditum ichchami, a lot of very, very common usages. So 3.3.157. So you go there for a second. 3.3.157. So this is the hard part of tumun. Tumun. It is not in one place in Ashtadhyayi. 3.3.157. It says ichartheshu. It's also typos here. Ichartheshu dhatushu upapadeshu dhatoho. No, I'm sorry. I got the next one. Okay, maybe 3.3.159. I think wrong. It's the wrong one. No, 158, I think. Okay. Ichateshu dhatushu samanakartrikeshu. So when this is designing something for myself, upapadeshu dhato tumun pratyabhavati. It says ichchati bhoktum, tamayete bhoktum, vishti bhoktum, vanchati bhoktum. So it is saying. So Samanakartrikeshu iti kim devadattam bhunjanam ichchati. He wants to see Devadatta to eat. So Yajnadatta wants to see Devadatta eating. So he cannot say bhoktum ichchami. So that is that's the one usage. So that's 3.3. Ichchata dhatu is there. And next there is one more usage is there. It is I think it is one here in 3.3.160, which is in Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. Kala Samaya Vela Sutman.
Satish ji,
Yes.
So for 33158, so no bhavishyati will come, right?
Which one?
33158, saman kartukeshu.
Let's see. Is there in Nruti, did they have bhavishyati artha? No, it doesn't say.
But for
Bhavishyati,
3310
bhavishyati is not there.
and for 3310 we have bhavishyati.
Yes, good point Kulpej is making is that in the 3310, let's go back there for a second. It's like he's going now to eat later, So that bhavishyati artha is not there. It's like I want to see right now. Aham drashtum ichchami. Doesn't have to be like I'm desiring now to see later. No, I want to see right now. But in the 3310, there was a bhavishyati anuvritti was coming down. So bhavishyati kale tumun pratyabhavati. So bhoktum vrajati. So he is going now to eat later. After he goes, he wants to eat. But in the 33158, we didn't have that bhavishyati artha. That's one thing. So this is actually bhavishyati is only this meaning of numul. Tumun. I keep confusing. Tumun. Only this 3310 only has the bhavishyati in there. The other meaning which doesn't have bhavishyati in there. The next one I was trying to say is the 33167 kala samaya vela sutamun. That is when you have a kala vachaka shabda there. Then you can also use tumun with that. Let's look at Kashika for a second. 33167. 33167. It says the kaladeshu upapadeshu. Again a typo there. Dhatoho tumun pratyabhavati. So kalo bhoktum. This is the time to eat. Vela bhoktum. It's time to eat. Samaya bhoktum. So that is what this is the time that you should eat. So so that is also a typical usage of tumun. And again, this is a one-off usage. As long as the kala vachaka shabda is the upapada, you can use the tumun to make a sentence. So this is the time when you should eat. So kalaha bhoktum, vela bhoktum. Again, the prior sutras would not work here. It's not like there's clearly two actions are not there. It's not like you're doing one action for the other. It's also ichcha is not there. So the other two sutras will not work here. The tumun would not work. And again, as Kalpiji said, when we had the Ichartaka, we didn't have a Bhavishyati Kale, and it was not like the Kriyartha Kriya also wasn't there. So these are number 3, and the last one also is a very important one. In fact, that's probably usage-wise one of the most important ones, which I think is not in Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, and that is the 3465. Okay, Shaka Drisha Nyagla Ghatarabha Labha Krama Saha Arha Astyartheshu Sahara Astyartheshu Tumun. Okay, it's a long list of dhatus. When one of these dhatus are being used, then along with that, for example, say Patitum Shaknoti. He knows how to read. Now Shaknoti, there is no Kriyartha Kriya involved here. It's not like he's able to do something later for the sake of reading he's able. No. So there's nothing for the sake of here. Ichcha also is not there. The Kala, Vela, Samaya also is not there. So this has to be a specific different usage. And actually you can also take the next sutra. Well, let's look at this one carefully. This sutra will come very often. Shaknoti yahe vayasodham prakshaira vimokshanat kama krodabhavam evam yukta suskhinaraha yonta sukhontararamastata tathantra jyotirevayaha. Yogi Brahmanira Brahmahuta. Which adhyaya is that, by the way? Anybody? Shaknoti yahe vayasodham. Ushaji, I'm impressed. Very fast. I think it's adhyaya 5, by the way. That's my... Ushaji, where is it? 5, thank you.
5.
Thank you. So, God, very good. Peter doing Gita. Mama Harsha Vardhate. Okay, Shaknoti yahe vayasodham. So one who can bear. So Induji is asking a question. Shaknoti yahe vayasodham.
Also in chapter 1, right? Shaknomi avasthatum
brahmati vacha, very good. Shaknomi avasthatum brahmati vacha me manaha, very good. Avasthatum na shaknomi. So we can see very, very, thank you. It's a very common usage. And even not only dhatu shak, by the way, even others are common. So in janati, like he says, patitum janati, so dhatu nya. Even this one, he says dhatu rabha. So like he says, vaktum arabate, he begins to speak, right? And he says, even this one, how about this one? Vaktum arhasya sheshena divya yhatmi bhutayaha. Yavir vibhutivid lokani mastam vyapyatishtasi. Adhyay number 10. Vaktum arhasya sheshena. Ushaji has her hand up. Adhyay 10, right? This is Vibhuti Yoga. It's Ushaji.
Satishji. No, I just wanted to say 10th chapter.
10th chapter, very good. Oh, you are quick. Very good. Next time, Gita question, we'll make Ushaji as a panelist for that. Very good. So that's good. So, Adhyay 10 it is. Yeah, correct. So it says, Vaktum arhasya sheshena divya yhatmi bhutaha. So you ought to tell me in entirety of all your divine glories. So Vaktum arhasya sheshena. Arhasi, the dhatu arha. So these are all important dhatus. These are this. So the shak is there, nya is there, rabha is there. So even ghata, praptum ghatate, means he strives to obtain ghatate. He strives to do something, So vyakarnasya jnanam praptum ghatate shishyaha. So he strives to get knowledge of vyakarnam. So he tries, So rabha, labha, krama, saha. Even asti arteshu. Asti arte, like bhoktum asti, So patitum atra pustakam asti patitum. So now there is one controversy, and in this particular case, both Bhattoji in Siddhanta Kaumudi as well as the Kashikakaraha take this artheshu as going only with the asti, the ending, because it says Panini says shaka, drisha, gnya, gla, etc. Asti artheshu tumun. Now, when Panini says artheshu means samanarthakaha api grijante. So means even the words which are of similar dhatu, similar meaning will be also taken. So then we can say bhoktum asti, bhoktum vartate, bhoktum vidyate, bhoktum bhavati. You can all do include. So that is fine. But then what is happening is that the others, samanarthas will not be taken. Which means, let's say we have bhoktum janati. Can we say bhoktum vetti? As per Kashika and Siddhanta Kaumudi, that usage is not allowed. But that is not very good because we see many good authors using that kind of usage. So actually, Apteji in the same book which I mentioned last time, in the Guide to Sanskrit Composition, he has mentioned that this interpretation is not correct. And even Shastriji and even Vasu, I think, has quoted Apteji in their books. And he gives a lot of quotations from good text where this is taking these exact dhatus. We have to extend the list. So for our purposes, we can extend the list to also the samanartha dhatus. We can do that. So not only the asti, bhavati, vittate, but all these also we can take because we're going to see those usages. Otherwise, we are faced with the fact of saying that they're non-Paninian usages, which is not quite correct. So now, why does Kashika and Bhattoji don't take that? Because they are saying is that a couple of these dhatus in between have similar meanings. Now, if Panini wanted samanartha dhatus, then why did he put two of them in there? He should put only one, because samanartha included. So that is why they have taken the position that we should only use these dhatus and not any others. But in reality, that is not followed. It is not followed. People are using dhatus like with etc. And so he says nya. So those also they are being used. So anyway, for us we'll keep it simple. Even if you have a dhatu which is same meaning as these, you can also use tuman. So very important sutram, this one. Come all the time. The next one also is there, paryapti vachaneshu alamartheshu. Let's look at that for a second. That one is 3466 if we take. That's basically the last one. That's the important one. So this is the whole range of the tumun in which meanings it can be used. 3466. It says paryaptaha anyunata means he is completely capable. He's not falling short in any way. Anyunata. Paryapti vachaneshu means, again, vachaneshu means you don't have to use the exact word. You can use similar words. Alam martheshu means that he is fully capable. Upapadeshu dhatumun bhavati. Paryapto bhoktum. So he is capable of eating. Means samartha bhoktum. Alam also, samarthya says. Alam bhoktum. Bhoktum parayati. He is able to eat. So, see, we didn't have the dhatu shak over here. There's no dhatu here. It just says paryaptaha bhoktum. So he's fully capable of, paryapti. Okay. Now he says, in fact, says purva sutre shaki grahanam analam artham shakyam evam kartum. So in the prior sutra, he says that he is able to eat, because in the prior sutra we saw the dhatu shak was there. Now why do we need this paryapti vachanesh alam artheshu? Because what this means that he is fully capable of eating. In that meaning also, if you have used the word alam, you can still have the same. There's something. Okay. For the first time, I got a warning that something wrong with the audio controls. But anyway, okay. Let's see. Kalpeju, can you hear me? Okay. Lost network.
Yes, very clearly.
Okay, but something is wrong with the connection. Can you see my screen also? Kalpeju?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay. All right. Let me try this again. Actually, what screen are you seeing? Are you seeing the Ashtadhyayi or seeing the Dhatu Patha? The Sutra Patha?
I'm seeing the Sans web.
Kashika.
Kashika.
Okay,
3466.
Okay, now you should see the car. You should now see my. Okay, how about now? Can you? Or you still cannot see? Okay. What has happened is actually I'm changing my screen, but you're not seeing. Let me try it. Let me just start seeing again. Okay. I think my network is down for a second here. Okay. Let me try this one.
Okay, we can see Ashtadhyayi.
Okay, we're back. Okay, I think my network had a blip. All right, so coming back. So I was talking about this, so 3, 4, 65, 66. Anyway, 66 is not that important, okay? Don't worry about it so much. 65 is the one that you really need. That's one of the most important sutras. So recapitulating again is, we start from 3, 3, 10. And that was saying when you have a kriya to kriya as upapada. So when action is being done for another action, and when such action is present, the other action which will be done in the future, which as Kalpeji pointed out, will be done in the future, that takes the tuman pratyaya. So he says, vasati, nyatum vasati. So he stays so that he can get knowledge, so that he can know, or patitum vasati. So that's 3, 3, 10. Then we went down to the 3, 3, 158, and that was the ichartesh. He said, drashtum ichhami te rupam. It is Bhagavad Gita form. So that was the samana kartarikeshu tuman. There is no bhavishyatyartha here. It should only be samana karta should be there. 3, 3, 157, 58. Then we saw the 3, 3, 167. Kala samaya vela tuman. When there is a kala vachaka shabda, you can also use tuman. When it's appropriate to kind of do something at a time, So, nayam kalaha shochitum. This is not the time to grieve. So that in that kind of usage also you can use. Because this is not the appropriate time to grieve. So the kalaha. Samaya ayam patitum. This is the time to read. Those kind of usages you have. And then we saw 3, 4, 65, which is very important sutram, and there, as per Apteji's kind of atidesha means you have to extend it, atidesha extension. So when one of these dhatus are there, then also the other dhatu going with it can take tuman, like shaknot yeha vajasodam. So nashakmam yavasthatum Bhagavad Gita, vaktumarasya sheshena. So these are all these 3, 4, 65. So also, as you know, I've said many times, when you add any pratyaya, you have to take three things into account. Is that we have to see what is the pratyaya, in what meaning are you coming, and the other thing is that which prakriti can take that, which dhatu can take it. So right now, I think all dhatus were allowed to take it, but some conditions are there. It has to be in this meaning or that meaning, so that is the one. But the prakriya of following the tumun is very easy, okay? It's nothing difficult. You do the guna, and you take the, Kalpeji, can you hear me? I think my connection, Satyaji, can you hear me? No.
Hear you. Usually I mute up, so it takes me a while to.
Okay,
Yes,
but I can hear me. Because my connection is going up and down, okay? So I don't know.
I see.
If you cannot hear, just tell me you cannot
Sure.
hear.
I think you are very clear, audible. Okay.
Okay, audible, but my web is having a problem. Okay, and you can see my screen also, right? Okay.
Yes, I can see.
Let me start sharing my screen again just to be sure. Okay. All right, I think we should be okay. Okay, so that's Tumun Pratyaya. Going back to Antoine's page. So that's he didn't cover in detail over here, but I just want to review those 3-4 meanings. Okay, so keep it in your mind: 3-3-10, 3-3-158, then the 167, I think it is, and then the 3-4-65. Okay, so when you have Tumun, you should go to one of these 4 or 5 sutras and get the meaning that you want. Okay, now the next thing he's talking. So that, oh, by the way, one more thing. This also creates an amvyaya, because here in the Tumun, the nakara is an it by halantyam. The u is an it by upadesha ajananasika it. So it's a makaranta and then krunmejantaha. Because tumun is, as you saw, is coming in this 3-3-3-4 section. So it's because of the thing starts from 3-1-90 something. So this is a krudanta krutpratyaya, and krunmejantaha becomes an avyaya. Krunmejantaha is in 1.1. As I mentioned to you many times, between 1-1-37 to 41, only 5 sutras which create avyayas in this language. So one of them is krunmejantaha, is a krutpratyaya ending in makara or h. Antaha will be an avyaya. This is an avyaya. So that's also easy. So no declension headaches, no prakriya headaches, no any complications. Only thing is the 4 meanings, 4 or 5 meanings. Okay, so let's go to the next one where he starts about the feminine abstract noun. He means bhave. He means bhave is the abstract nouns. Levitaji Prashna asti. Okay.
सतीशजी तत्र नकारः अस्ति किल नकारस्य प्रयोजनः कः
प्रयोजनं वेदे स्वरार्थम् इति अहं मन्ये अत्र अस्माकं प्रयोजनं नास्ति
अस्तु धन्यवादः
Now the abstract now he says bhave. So I want to go to this section first in the Ashtadhyayi. So I like to come to Ashtadhyayi many times because this is how we have, unless you get a feel for the Ashtadhyayi, it's hard to master this language. I know I say it all the time, but good to say one more time. Is most people ignore the Ashtadhyayi, even those who study Vyakaranam, even those who study the Paninian way, even they mostly are studying only Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi or Kaumudi, and they don't look at Ashtadhyayi so much. And that creates many problems. Even though it's easy to go Rama Shabda, you just go to Siddhanta Kaumudi, you open the one page and you're done. That is very good. That's also good. You need both of them. But don't ignore the Ashtadhyayi. This is actually the Mula Parampara. Siddhanta Kaumudi came much later than this. So, okay, so let's go to this section where Panini starts adhikar of bhave and also akartri chakare ke sanyayam. This is a very important sutram. This only gives the meaning in which the following pratyaya are going to be used. See, one more time, we mentioned that we need to know what is a pratyaya, kasmin arthe, and then kebhya, say kabhya prakritibhya vidiyate, is which prakritis can take it. Now here only the meaning is given in these 2 sutras. They're not doing anything, just saying bhave and akartri cha kareke sanyayam. What does this mean? Bhava means we should only take the abstract noun. So when you say dhatu, like you say buddh, is to understand. So buddhi is understanding. Now when you say buddhi is intelligence, Now, how do we get that meaning now? Because intelligence is not understanding, is a faculty of intelligence. Okay? Then we can probably go to the next sutra, which is akartri chakarike sanyayam. Sanyayam is when it is a noun. It is a noun formation, which has specific usage, specifically being used in that meaning. So when buddhi, when it means, you can say grahana shakti or whatever you want to call it, when that means, then you say that by which you understand everything. So it says buddhyate anaya iti buddhi. So it can be, so it cannot be the one who understands. Because akartari. These are all pratyas if you use akartari. So buddhi will never be the one who understands, the one who knows. Why is adhikara so important? Because this adhikara has inside it not only the feminine noun, it also has all the masculine noun, like the ghani, etc. So this lucis pratyaya ghani starts from here. This ghani goes all the way down from here to 3-3, and it has apavadas also. We have the pratyaya ach and up, but they also go to 3-3-93. And then from 94 starts striyam tin. Okay, so striyam tin starts from 94. That goes to 112. So this is how you form masculine and feminine nouns in this language. Very small section, comparatively. Given the importance of the topic, the section is small. If you want to form any masculine noun, you have to come, we're talking about nouns, not adjectives now, not adjectives. Adjectives coming elsewhere, like, nishtha, and although they are coming elsewhere. They will have their own meanings, but they'll go in all three genders. This will not go in all three genders. Why not? Because, first of all, Pani says triyam tin. So that ends that. It says only in feminine. Even in the ghani pratyaya and apavadas in the linganushāsanam, it says pullinge vartate. So it will only be in the masculine. So these are all, and actually it goes in this order: masculine, feminine, neuter. Because after striyam tin ends, then Panini starts this one, napumsake bhavektaha. So napumsake starts. That goes down for a few sutras. So, but important thing to remember is this anuvritti of the bhave and the akartariche karake sanyayam ends before napumsake. So napumsake doesn't carry anuvritti. Those neuter nouns don't come in all those meanings. Anyway, we're not doing it right now. We see them when we come to them, we'll see them. But right now, remember that this anuvritti of bhave from 3, 18, and 19, the akartariche kareke sanyayam, that will come down to only 3, 1, 1, 3. So all the masculine and feminine nouns, they can come in these various meanings. So any meaning except kartari. For example, we say aharaha. So aharaha means that from which you take nutrients is aharaha. This is specific use. Ahara means diet. So it is food. So food is a sanya. That is the sanyaya. It will not just, ahara doesn't mean intake. Not, if you take anything, it's not aharaha. Ahara has to mean food. And then you can use in any karaka except sanya, except the kartari. Okay. Otherwise it will be only bhavarthe. Ahara means bringing. Rhu is to take. So ahara means removing. Ahara means ahru means to bringing in. So when it's same thing with buddhi, when we form buddhi, it can be either, it can be buddhist to understand, so buddhi can be understanding, or it can be that by which you understand, that from which you understand, that in which you understand, that by which you understand, which cannot be the one who understands. That'll become the, the bodha shabda, or bodhakaha. There'll be different pratyas for that. They are not here. Okay. So this entire section is akartari. And in fact, 331 of Ashtadhyayi starts with the sutram, the unadayo bahulam. So that also you have to keep in mind. Even though I mentioned to you that these masculine nouns, feminine are formed in this section only, unadayo bahulam. So there are many pratyas which are formed by these adi pratyas. They form many words, and they are given a separate appendix. They are given. The good news there is that they are not like thousands of words. They're only, I don't know, maybe like a few hundred or so. So you can quickly go to the Unadi Patha and go to the index and see if that word is Unadi or not. It takes like 1 second. You can just go to the Unadi Kosha, and the Akaradi Suchi Vartate. You can Tatra Drashtavyam, Asti Vanava, finished. And then if it's not Unadi, Unadis are now done, finished. Of course, once in a while they extend Unadis to there's some extensions are done. But for the most part, you can quickly go and confirm that. If it's not Unadi, then you have to come down to this one, to our Ashtadhyayi section. And Unadis are you take with a pinch of salt, because what Unadis do is that when they see a word, they try to imagine some Prakriti, imagine some Dhatu, and imagine some Pratyaya. And they try to make sense out of that word. The word is in usage. That's why Panini does not take them very seriously. He has put them as an appendix, and he does refer to them. The Unadis also use the same convention of Panini. They have the same it letters. They have the same, Guna Vriddhi Nishedha. All those things come there also. And they are also Krut Pratyayas. We need that because we need the Krut Tadita Samasascha Pradipadika Sanya. So they need to be Pradipadikams also. And Panini also talks about which meanings they can come. He also talks about it, but he doesn't go into details of Pratyayas. So those details are not given. So when you see a word which is Unadi, you can accept the Vyutpatti, or you can say it is, we don't need the Vyutpatti of that. It's taken with a grain of salt. But these in Ashtadhyayi you should know. Ashtadhyayi, which words are derived in the Ashtadhyayi, those you should know. That they are Pramanam of Panini. So this is the Adhikara. Bhave, Akrati Chakare ke Sanyaya. Never forget these two sutras. Very, very important. They only set the meaning in which, these words are formed. And most people only talk about Bhave, which is okay, I think, which is in fact what Antoine is mentioning also. He's taking the feminine abstract nouns. So he means Bhave. But you'll have many, many words which cannot be explained by Bhave. Cannot be explained by Bhave. So, okay. Now, let's say. So remember that Sutram 3319. 3319.
Satishji?
Yes.
This Bhave and then you have the next sutra, Kartariki. Both of them are anuvrittis for everything following, or?
Up to the 3 down there, yes.
But both are different,
Anuvritti.
right? They cannot be simultaneously applicable.
No, it will be either or.
Either or.
But the word will be the same. It can be used in different meanings, but. So you take a word like aharaha.
Buddhi, you take your example, buddhi.
Buddhi, yes, yeah.
Okay.
So buddhi can be just understanding. The buddhi can be bodhanam, understanding. But buddhi can be the intelligence faculty, then it should be sanyaya. So the form will be the same. The form will be the same. But even the context, you could have two different meanings,
Okay.
And in fact, for many of the nouns, you will need this 19 is the one that you will need. Because bhave is very straightforward, So that's straightforward meaning. Other one is where you have to, you have to use, you have to look into it. So buddhi doesn't only mean bodhanam, understanding. No. It could mean that by which you understand, So that is the two sutras. And then as I said to you, you go down to the 94 to 112. Okay, very small section, small section. Is the Striyam Tin is Adhikara only. And then he starts with different pratyayas. It comes down to the 33114 until 113 are all these sections. And these are also important sutras are here. I think Panini has not, Antoine is not mentioning it. Let's see what Antoine is doing. Let's finish the book first and then we'll come back to this. A couple of things about the Tin Pratyaya is that it never takes an idagama. I mentioned this a few times, but good because this is also a Valadi. It is also a Pratyaya which is Ardha Dhatuka. So you normally should have had the, the idagama, the Sambhavana you should have had. Ardha Dhatuka se id Valadehe. But here there is a specific sutram which stops the idagama, which is good news for us. Because when you come to this this Triyam thing, you don't have to open that, the Kanteshu, Dhanteshu, Danteshu, Tesham Projanam Nasti. Because, pratyasya kadapi idagama na bhavati. So that's 7-2, I think it'll probably around 9 or 10. 7-9, I think it is, not 10. 7-2, wrong section. Okay, 7-2, it'll be, yeah, 7-9. Why don't you mention these number of pratyayas here? The ti, tutra, ta, tha, si. These are all mainly unadi pratyayas, okay? Only the striyam tin, the first one, this ti, that's really the only one which is most important, this 7-9 sutram. And that, because this is a nisheda, anuvritti is coming na. So, id agama na bhavati. So, these do not take id agama. They will not take id agama. So, that's the most, so that makes it very easy for us. The second thing I want to mention is that in the, of course, the kit pratyaya, so all the same rules that you have for, the kiniticha and all the other rules that we have, jati, shati. We're going to see some of them. Antoine will talk about some of them. And one more thing is that in the feminine, the moment you form any feminine form, whether it be a noun or it be a adjective, you have to immediately go to the striyamadhikara in 4.1 and check if do we need to add any feminine affix, because no feminine form can be used until you pass to the striyamadhikara 4.1. So they say that if it is in the feminine meaning. So this is what I'm talking about. This one, this striyam 413. So the moment a word is coming for use in the feminine sense, feminine gender, I should say, then you have to come and pass through this section. You cannot use it until you go through this section. It could be adjective, could be noun. So same thing for striyam tin. Okay. But as it defined, of course, the most important sutram are the first 2 or 3, ajadyata shtap. That is why you do not have any pratipadikam in the whole language which ends in short a, which is used in the feminine, because immediately when it comes, you have to pass through this section. You cannot use it. So, and in this section, the very first sutram is say, ajadi atashtap, ataha. So ta pratya nityam bhavati. So when you say patita, it becomes patita. Vidita becomes vidita. So all these comes. But there is no such general rule for any other, ending. One more is there, rinnebhyo neep is there. If you have something ending in the rikara, it takes the neep. So kartri becomes kartri and so on. They will also come. So you will not have any words ending in the short a. You will also not have any words ending in the short ru, because they will take neep immediately in the feminine. Then there are other sutrams down here. Now, the one thing that I'm coming to is that, which you see mentioned sometimes, is that there are a number of words in the feminine which have a form in the short e and long e also, like koti and koti, avalihi and avali. So there are many of these forms. I think probably maybe on suchi and suchi, probably. We'll check that. No, how is that happening? That is because there's a vartikam here. I think it's in the bhavajibhyascha. This is the vartikam, votos trivachana. It is a sneaky vartikam. But the reason I'm mentioning now is that does not apply to the striyam tin. So the striyam tin will not become dirgha. So let's look at this 4145 for a section. For a second, I'm sorry, I keep saying that. For a second, let's go to 4145. And that will say that, so when you see these long and short e-ending feminine words, what is happening there, they were probably created short, but then by usage of something they became long. And it says that, this is the vartikam. Krud ikarad aktinaha. Aktinaha. So if you have a krudanta, which is a short e, krud ikarad, aktinaha, which is but not the ikara of tin, then the sutram says, the anuvritti is coming down. I think this nish va bhavati. So he says nish va, this one. Striyam nish va. striyam va nish pratyaya bhavati. So you will often get this long E following any short E, krudanta, in the feminine, but not the pratyaya striyam tin. So you'll never have the word buddhi like that. But you do have words like koti, anavali, and maybe suchi, etc. So any short ikaranta, you can make long ikaranta in the feminine. Of course, you should not just do it wildly on your own. There has to be some shishta pramanam, See, the whole thing is language. This is a language, So the ultimate final verdict is the shishta prayogas. Only what shishta use we should use. So all these Panini Shastram is only there to justify shishta prayogas. It is not to create your own form sitting at home. So, of course, once you become a shishta, you can do it. But all these things only justify the form which are used by the scholars. So this says that you can expect to see any short E form becoming long E in the feminine, but not the pratyaya aktin. Then some people even extend that. Sarvataha aktin nantaditi eke. So this is only krudantas can do that. But somebody says, no, even others can also do. May not be krudanta, it can still do it. So if you have anything ending in short, even you can make it long. Anyway, this vartikam is there. It's a very sneaky vartikam. It of course, it is put there because otherwise you cannot justify these words otherwise. Words like shuchi, koti, avali, you cannot be able to justify them. But that does not apply to the klinantas. Okay, so that's said. So you'll never have this become buddhi, siddhi. Those are the wrong forms. You may have it in Hindi or whatever, but not over here. It should be shorty only. Let's go to Antoine. Now he's talking about some angakaryam, which I think most of us already know. Let's just review it. Verbal do undergo the same changes as in the kta. Because, the pratyaya kta and pratyaya ktin, both are, takaradi kit pratyayas. And they are also the kit pratyayas, so they will form the similar kind of thing. Only thing is that in nishtha, you have a number of complications for the idagama. Here it's very easy. Idagama kadapi na bhavati. So you have to worry about it. In nishtha, you have to constantly go to that section from 7 to 14 to 34 and keep checking all the time if something is stopping idagama. It's just the most complicated thing in the idagama for the nishtha. Here, you don't have that. So very easy. So keep life very easy for us. So that's why he said the same changes, because they are both takaradi kit pratyayas. So there'll be, jaladi, haladi, kit. So all the same rules will apply. Let's go to examples quickly. Shruti is hearing. Look. Shruti is hearing, right? Now look at this one. Same thing. See what I was telling you about? Shruti is hearing. But normally when you have a girl named Shruti or a name Shruti, like, iti Shruti vadati, vedaha vadanti ityartaha. Tarhi katham. How can that be the case? Because if we didn't say Veda, we said hearing. Veda is not hearing, because that's sanyaya. Tasma sa arthapi sambhavati. So that by which, or that which is heard, you can take it. And there's a little bit of gray area also. This is a gray area. They may not be, see when the sanya is involved, some people say this is tritiyarthe, you can say karmani, some say adhikarane, some might say apadane. So you can this, but I think if you have the word Vedas, you can say shuyante iti shrutihi. Shuyate iti shrutihi. That which is heard is the Vedas. Because the Vedas were so far not composed, they were heard supposedly. So the Apaurushaya Vedas. So that which was heard was a divine, kind of revelation. That is the Vedas. So you have to remember Sutram 3.3.19. Remember that. Most people don't look at that. They only say Shruti is hearing, but then you cannot explain these words at all, what they mean. So Shruti can be hearing also. Now, how about this one now? Shruti can mean the ears. Now, there also you can say Shruyate anena, or Shunoti anena iti Shruti. So that by which you hear is the Shruti, that is your ears. So all these meanings, when they come to, it has to be sanyayam now. So when it's karanarthe, when you have the karana, when we say karanarthe, karana I should say. Karana means the ears. The ears, when you have, then you have to make it that by which you hear. It be karanarthe in that meaning. So that's why you have to be ready to form these words. Okay, so you can bhave, and Akarti Chakarike Sanyayam. That's the important sutram for today. That is the one. 3.3.19. 3.3.19. And that runs to the entire pulling up, Pratyeshu and then Sriyamtin also, but not Napumsake. Napumsake does not go. When you say Bhojanam is interesting one. I gave a bad example. Now let's take Bhojanam for a second. Okay, I put myself in the bad spot. But Bhojanam. Now Bhojanam is not really eating. Bhojanam is food, that which is eaten. Now how would you justify that? Because I just said that this, in fact, let's go there for 1 second. We're going a little bit off topic, but since I brought up this concept, let's finish that one. It says this 3.3.114, we stopped this one. Anuvritti of that, because here Pani starts Napumsake Bhavyaktaha again, he says. So this Napumsaka Pratyaya, they will come up Bhavya only. So that old Adhikara is stopped. It says Bhave. Then he says, this is the Pratyakta. The Balakasya Hasitam Jalpitam. It means the boy's laugh. The laugh of the boy. Balakasya Hasitam. Tasyaha Jalpitam. Her talk. Take him only Bhave. Okay. Now, Lyutcha. The same Lyut can come in. The Lyut is the Ana. Yuvaranakau. Ana can come. Okay. So, Prashna. Uchatam. Yes.
This ta is this ta is different from the nishtha ta, right?
No, taktavatu nishtha is a sanya. So this will also be nishtha. But this will not be coming in the bhutarthe.
Okay.
The same ta pratyaya, same prakriya, but artha bheda asti. So this is coming napumsake.
Idi mama vakyam suddham va balakaha hasitaha.
Balaka hasitaha, that is bhutarthe. That is the karmani arthe.
Tarhi napumsake bhave tu aham kadham vadami.
Balakasya hasitam.
Sarvada hasitam eva bhavishyati tarhi.
Hasitam. And tatra shashti prayujyate. Tena nayate nayam bhave athva karmani arthe. Ayam bhave pravartate. So that's when you see the shashti coming with this ta. That's how you know this is not going to be the tayore vikutyakta kalartaha. They take the of course if you say maya kritam praptam maya, so you can there will be the karta will be in tritiya there. These will take shashtis.
So rupam samanam
bhavati. So but this will decline like vanam now. Vanam vane vanani. Okay. Those will be adjectives. That one which come in both will be adjectives.
Right.
They will qualify who is qualifying. So, but this will be only Napumsake. So, yeah, same pratyaya, the same pratyakta. But now we are talking about the word bhojanam. So, bhojanam is not eating. That's Lyutche Sutram. Lyutche says that it comes in the same bhave. Napumsake bhave. Lyut also comes. Then there is one more very important. Just like we had the Akriti Chakarike Sanyayam. Here the important sutram is this one. Karanadikarana yoscha. You can have this Lyut Pratyaya in the sense of Karana or Adhikarana also. It can be like that also. So now, that means that by which you eat, that in which you eat can also be. And one more important thing is that these need not be neuter. The Napumsaka Anuvritti stops before this. Napumsaka Anuvritti stops. So when you have a word like Tarjani, your pointing finger is Tarjani, right? So that by which you terrorize Tarjani. They became feminine. How about Dharani? That in which everything is held is Dharani, it means the earth, Dharani. So these words like Lekhani, that by which you write is Lekhani. The Karanadikarana Yosha is also, just like we had the other one, 3.3.19 for the feminine and masculine, this is for the neuter. Karanadikarana Yosha. So these words can be used in the not only bhave, but also only karana and adhikarana. And these two meanings, they don't have to be neuter. They can be feminine also. Okay? Lyut. So, in fact, because in the lyut you have the takar and it by halantyam. In the lyut, the takar is it by halantyam. Tasya projanam kim asti. What's the projanam of that? And that is because to make the feminine long e. If that's the projanam, if they're going to be only neuter, what's the use of that? If they're going to be neuter only. But no. Even though bhave they are neuter, when it comes to karanadikaranayoscha, they can go in feminine also. And there are many, many like Rajadhani, you know. So this is the that in which the king stays, you know. So so this is, you know, Raja. So that these kinds of words, you know, can be formed. Now coming back to bhojanam now. Now bhojanam is not that by which you eat. It is not that in which you eat. It is not eating. It is that which is eaten. So now we are stuck. Because bhavarthe nasti, karanarthe nasti, adhikaranarthe pi nasti. Then you come to this sutram, which is also very notorious. Very, very notorious sutram. Because it is like a loophole, you know. This one. Krutya luto bahulam. Krutya luto bahulam. Just like we had the unadayo bahulam, we have this one also bahulam. Meaning these lut pratyas and the krutya pratyas can be used in various meanings. So even though we said bhave and then karanadikaranayoscha, anyatrapi drishyate, it can be seen in other meanings also. So if you see a lut pratyaya, which is not bhave, not karanarthe, not adhikaranarthe, then you have to come to this bahulam. So my guess is that the bhojan is going to be bahulam. That which is eaten is food. Now, why is sutram so important? Even though it says only kritya and lut only it says. The kritya is the potential participles and the lut is bahulam. But if you see any krit pratyaya which is not well behaved, doesn't follow the rules, we use the same bahulam. The same bahulam can be used to extend to any krit pratyaya which is not behaving according to the way Panini wants it to behave. Let's go to that sutram for one second, and I think we have gone a little bit too far from the topic, but it's all very important rules which you will see in the Bhashyakara or the Tikakara. They will use these rules all the time. You should know what they're saying, you know. So it says Bahulakat. Bahulakat means because of this sutram, because the Bahulam is here. So this 33113 is a loophole for all krut pratyas. Not only kritya and lut, even though Panini doesn't say all kruts, he only says kritya and lut only he says. But we have to extend that. Let's look at that for a section, then for a second, then we'll go back to the other one. So 33113. Okay, let's look at that. So keep this one in mind. It comes in handy sometimes. And the same thing, we should not be doing this on our own. Only when we see the Shishta Prayoga, when we see the Tika, then we should go and look at this one. It says the, see, Bahula Grahanat, Anyepi Krutaha, Yatha Praptam, Abhidheyam, Vyabhicharanti. Vyabhicharanti means they deviate from their intended use. So Bahula Grahanat, Anyepi Krutaha, Krut Pratyaha, Yatha Praptam, means the Shishta Prayoga. Abhidheyam means that is what they should be referring to. Vyabhicharanti means they deviate from that. So, okay. Now that is, so let's go back. So these are all uses. I've given you the whole thing now. Masculine, feminine. We also saw neuter, as I mentioned bhojanam by mistake. So we got all that. So now in feminine, only bhave and any other karaka except kartari. Now the book is quite straightforward because he has just given something which we already know. So Shruti, only thing is kiniticha, gunanishedha. So there's nothing there, just join. And no idagama, we already mentioned that to you. Smriti also same thing. Smriti also is gunanishedha. And the bhuj becoming bhukti, same thing, no idagama. And you just do the chohokuhu. Chohoku is what we need to use. And it becomes, and karicha. Chohoku, I mean, these are all, now it's very easy for you. I mean, we won't even go through the numbers. I think you all know, right? Chohokuhu and karicha. And then sham becomes shanti. Here is 6415, right? Anunasika sipijjalo kiniti. Let's look at that for a second, 6415. And that one is, 6415 is, okay, Indu has a question. I'm sorry.
Satishji,
Yes.
in the Striyam 10, why do you need the Vartikam for the words, for the Dhatu Shru? One of the Vartikams that they has given is Shru, right?
Where is that? Under which sutram is that?
Striyam 10.
Okay, let's see. Under that is the Vartikam for the Shruti?
For Shru, yes.
Okay, let's look at that. I didn't know that, but let's look at it. 3394, Striyam 10. Okay. Let's see. 3394. 3394.
Satish, are you updating the screen?
Yeah, I think what's happening is that my web connection is going in and out, okay? So you may not be able to see my screen updating. Let me try it. But my phone is working fine. So even though you may not see my screen updating, I'm looking at Sutram 3394, but I think you're not able to see it because I think my web connection has, oh, now it's come back, okay.
Yes,
So
it's good now.
It's come back. Let me, but it lost my page. So Kashika, so today my web's having a problem. So anyway, so okay, let's see 3394. But the audio will be fine. That's good news. So even though the web goes down, audio is fine. You will not be able to see my screen correctly. That's the only problem. Okay. Now Shruti. Stuti is here. Oh, Shruti Anyayati Shruti. Where's the Vartikam? Which Vartikam you're talking about, Indu? Where's the Vartikam which you're talking about?
See, if you look in the Sutra Pata, he, under the Striyam 10, he gives the first Vartikam is Shru. Shru Yaji Stubhyaha Karane.
Oh, Karane. Okay. Now let's see. Oh, Shu Yaji Stubhyaha Karane. Shuyate Anyayati Shrutihi. Okay, now why do you need the Vartikam? Okay, that's a good one because normally if you have any, we just talked about it, that by which you hear is the Shruti, the ears. But okay, now why do you need the Vartikam for that? Let me see in my Kashika if I can see anything specific for that one. It should give, because normally there should be nothing stopping that. Otherwise, I'll look it up and let you know. Let me see. So now I have all the books over here, so I don't have to go back and forth. Let's see what Kashika says. 3394. 3394 says Shruate Anayati Shrutihi Shru Yaji Stubhya Karane. Interesting point. Does that mean the anuvritti of that is not coming down here? The Akartrikarike Sanya? Yeah, it should be. We double check that. Kalpesh, do you have your Ashtadhyayi book? Can you check anuvritti for the 3319 goes up to here?
Yes, 1 second. Let me check that.
Goes to 112.
Goes to 112, right?
Right.
Then why do you need this one? Okay. So what I'm going to do, if you're going to spend a couple of minutes here, I'm going to look up, where will you find the answer to this, by the way? What you need to do is look at the commentary on the Kashika. And I have them all here. It's like a 10-volume set. So let me go there for a second. We'll spend a couple of minutes. Let's see. It's a good question. Is why do we need that that Vartikam? When already we have the Akartari Karake is already authorized. We should not need that Vartikam. So let's look at it. 3394. Let's see. So I'm looking at now the Padamanjari and Nyasa commentary, where they comment on everything which Kashika says. There's a commentary on it, very useful, of course. Okay, let's say what they say. Lyuti prapte vachanam. Oh, what they're saying is that, okay, now here's one thing, is that what they're saying is that, in fact, I'm glad we covered this one. This is what the Padamanjari says, okay? Lyuti prapte vachanam. That if you have, in fact, this is maybe something new for me to learn. You know what I mentioned to you about the, okay, this is good. In fact, it's a very good question because I did not realize this. Let's go back to the Ashtadhyayi Patha, which we were doing before. We talked about these neuter nouns, which we're not studying right now, but we're just looking at the meanings. The Karana Adhikarana Yoscha. Now, the Karana Adhikarana Artha, you should really use the neuter nouns and not use these feminines and masculines. So, even though it says any Karaka except Kartari, if it is Karana and Adhikarana, you should use the neuter ones, what they're saying, not use the feminine or masculine noun. So Shruti should not have taken Karanartha, but the Vartikam puts it back. So okay, so that's a good thing. So one thing, see, every class I learn something new. I should tell you every class what I learn, I should tell you what I learn new in every class. This is what new for me, because I knew the adhikar is coming down. Can be any karaka except kartari. But what I didn't realize is that, because in Lyut, I'm glad we looked at it already, we looked at it, I'm happy about that, because the karana adhikarana is specifically mentioned for Lyut. So they should be, Lyut takes these, I mean the napumsaka is a Lyut pratyaya, it takes these over. So these are generally not used in the masculine or feminine, generally speaking. That is why Katyayana wants to say that no, Shruti can be used in the Karanartha, in the feminine. And this is how we learn this. This is very fantastic commentaries, by the way. This also highlights the importance of these commentaries, This Nyasa and Padamanjari. In fact, the Nyasa commentary is very straightforward. He doesn't make it too complicated for us, He keeps it very, very easy. And so you look at the so there, but this one is so the one, but this one I'm finding it quickly more in the Padamanjari. Say Lyuti Prapte Vachanam Shruti Shrotam. See, this is also, you have to know a little bit more Vyakaranam to understand what they're saying. He's only saying Lyuti Prapte Vachanam. If you didn't know this Sutram, Karanadikarana Yoscha, you will not know what he's talking about, So they expect you to know a little bit, to go through these commentaries. But you can hunt, mostly they're not that bad. You can generally figure them out, So the level that we are looking at now, we can read these commentaries now. We can understand mostly what they say, And it's also the Hindi tika on there, so I can also go down there. So if I, let's see. Okay. So in fact, he doesn't go into detail. He just sees the commentary. Okay. So that's the reason. Is good. So we learned something new. Is that the Karana and Adhikarana, they should go in the neuter. Should not come to the feminine masculine. But these ones are being exceptions. Okay, thank you. That is good. So let's going back to Antoine now. So I'm glad we're having the web class, because if you're having the class physically, I have to come home and look at this book. Now I can just pick it up and give you the answer right there if you can find it. We need to have a class on that also, but it's where to go to look up the answer. Where to go and look up the answer is a very important thing. Is, because all these reference books we have, and I'm sitting in a room which is full of books around me, like 100 books are here. So I have to just pick out the book that we need quickly to get the answer. So but today we already said if you have a question from the Kashika, go to the commentary of Nyasa Padamanjari. Mostly they will explain everything in the Kashika. Every single word in the Kashika, well, of course not very simple words, but anything which can create a doubt is explained in the Nyasa Padamanjari. Very good commentaries. Anything in Siddhanta Kaumudi, you can go to the commentary Tattva-Bodhini, or you can go to the Bruhat Shabdendu Shekhara of Nagesha Bhatta, these two. Okay, so let's finish. I think these are now easy sutras for us. We talked about Bhuj Bhivam Bhukti. We did the Choho Kuhu. We did Kharicha. And again, no Vidagama to worry about. No Guna, because Kit Pratyaya Kiniticha Guna Nishedha. Shram becomes Shranti. We also know this one. Anuji Sutram Anunasika Sekvijalo Kiniti. So that one is in the Upada Dirgha Adhikara in the beginning of the 6.4. The Anuvritti of Dirgha comes down from Dhalope Purush Dirgha. So 6.4.15, look at that. This is, what does that say? We have a Jhaladi Kit Pratya, which we do. Anunasika Sekvijalo Kiniti. So if we have a Jhaladi Kit Pratya, which is, Jhaladi means what? There should be no Vidagama. Okay, that's what it means. So this Anunasika Kvijjaloho, so Jhalo Quip, which we don't have, or Jhaladi, Kitnit Pratyaya, which we do have, then the Upada becomes Dirgha. So Shram, since Iragama cannot come here, as we mentioned many times, was 7 to 9, so it becomes Shram. Then you take Nascha, Padandasya Jhali, Anuswara Saji Parasavarnaha. So because this is not Padanta, so Nitya Karyam, becomes Shranti. So Shranti, Bhranti, Klanti, all these come like that. So Anunasika Sekvijjalo Kiniti. Then Gam becomes Gati, that also we know we use many times, 6.4.37. See, this is a good thing now, because if you learn the Paninian way, So you have to keep on repeating the sutras too much. We don't need these rules anymore. We already know all these rules. So this entire thing which Antoine has given, this entire paragraph here, we don't need now. We know kiniticha. We know chuhokuho. We know kharicha. We know anunadika kujjalo kiniti. We know the anudatopadesha, manhitanotyadinam, anunasika lopaha. That also we know, 6437. In this one you may not know, but we should know this jati, syati, sthamitam, tado kiti. We have that also. Then of course this one becomes buddhi. We know the jashastator dhodaha, jam jashi. So this entire paragraph we don't need now. We know it. Just quickly point to gam becomes gati. You all know, but good to refresh. Is the 6437. Anunata upadesha vanati tanotyadina anunasika lopo jali kiniti. So anything which is anudatta upadesha. Anudatta upadesha means because of 7 to 10 it will be the anit dhatus. So manteshu yamanam agamarama chatvaraha nanteshu han and man. So these 6 dhatus. And then dhatu 1 tanotyadina. Any tanadi dhatus like the kshan, tan, all those. Anunasika lopa jali kiniti. We use it many times. What is this? This Sutra Patha is extremely clean. Okay, I mentioned to you last time. This Sutra Patha, this PDF file is, I have not found a typo so far, at least so far, no typos. Very, very nicely, so worth keeping this one. Nudatopadesha, vanatitanotyadina, vanadasika lopa, jalikiniti. So that forms the word gati. Now this one, the word sthiti, is the 7440. Yati, syati, I think it is tha, let's see, there is tha and the dhatu ma, like amita. Amita is formed with that. Let's go there for 67440. Tikiti. Tikiti means tado kiti. So 7440 sutram this is. Only for these 4 dhatus. So one of these 4 dhatus, you always should know what is the domain of the sutra you're looking at. Sutra which you're applying, what is the domain of that sutram? Is it applying to the whole world or just to specific things? Where are you? What territory are you in? So it says yati, syati. So dhatu, I think it's dhatu do and this is sho dhatu. Not very common dhatu, this one. Actually, I shouldn't say that because it comes in Bhagavad Gita, right? Apiche sudara acharo bhajate mamananya bhak sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasito hi saha. So which adhyaya is that? Apiche sudara acharo bhajate mamananya bhak sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasito hi saha. Chapter, anybody? Yes. Chapter 9, I think it is. Chapter 9. What is it? Ushadi? Chapter 9, right? I can't hear. I think it's chapter 9, yes.
I thought it was chapter 7.
Oh,
So,
chapter 7? Is it chapter 7? Okay,
I'm not sure.
okay, let's go. I think it's chapter 9. Apiche sudara acharo bhajate mamananya bhak sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasito. Chapter 9, I think it is, yeah. Let's see. Towards the end of chapter 9,
Shipram bhavati sarvasya. Yeah. Doesn't it go Shipram bhavati dharmasya after that? Yeah.
Dharmatma, shashvat shanti nigacchati, kaunte maname bhakta pranashyati. Chapter 9 it is. Chapter 9, yeah. Let's see. Chapter 9, I'm talking about this one. Wait a minute, what am I? This is Parishishta, I'm sorry. Okay, let's come back. Chapter 9 is coming, this one. Here it is. Okay. Number 30. So, shloka number 30 in chapter 9. Samyak vyavasito hi saha. Vyavasito hi saha. This is dhatu is we, our, and the dhatu sho. Sho means antakarmani, to make an end. Means he has resolved. He has properly resolved. So even if somebody was very bad conduct, would to worship me ananya bhak with exclusive devotion, then he should be thought of as a saint because he has rightly resolved. Apiche sudaracharo bhajate mamananya bhak sadureva samantavya samyak vyavasito saha. So for next time you read this shloka, you should think about the sutram 7.4.40. Yati, yati, stha, and dhatu ma. They take this ikara adesha, tikiti, tadau kiti. This dhatu show is not that common, but this word vyavasaya is very common. Vyavasayatmika buddhir, ekehe kurudandana, bahushaka anantascha buddhir vyavasayana. Chapter 2, vyavasayatmika buddhi. So that also comes dhatu vi, our, show. And of course dhatu adesha saha. So vyavasita, that is the one comes in Gita. So chapter 9, number 30. So the 7.4.40 what we're looking at, and that's a yati syati mastham it tikiti. So when you have a tadu kit pratyaya, it becomes the ikara adesha. You can use the alontyasya.
So this takes
yes, go ahead.
This takes precedence for gumastha.
Gumastha is very good, very good, very good, because gumastha gapa jahati samhali. That would have become the ikara adesha, that's thiyate. But this is a subset of that, because that is what that it says.
Is that for ardhatuke?
Then that's hali, any hali. Kit nit but hali pratyaya. This is only tadav kiti only. So
it's
that
not strict subset, right? That has different dhatus, this has different dhatus.
No, but if you take the dhatu stha, why should this overrule that?
Oh, okay. For stha
It's
it
an
is.
apavada for the dhatu stha. Otherwise this will never have a chance.
Oh, right. For stha it would not apply.
It won't have a chance. So this it'll be no use to include stha over here otherwise. So it is. I think it's not ardhatuke. That one is what. And you're right. I think the page is 6468, right? Yeah.
6466.
I'm sorry. Gu ma stha. See the ma and stha here also there. These two dhatus are common. The ma and stha are common here. So it can become miyate, anumiyate. Anuma is to guess. So ma will become miyate, will become mita, amita. Stha becomes sthiyate, but becomes sthita. So yes, good point. So this 646 also has the dhatus ma and stha. There's overlap. But this is for any halado kitnit. That one is only takaradi kit. So that is apavada for these two partially, okay? So correct. Good. That's a good point. So as again the same domain. Keep your domain in mind. Which domain are you in, This requires any haladi kitnit, that only takaradi kit. So, okay, so that's finished. I think that's it. Then we mentioned the last one, right? Just tator dhodha and the jalam jastashi. I think you know all that. Decline like mati we already saw. Okay. The next thing is talking about is forming agent nouns. Now, agent nouns is the default meaning for krut pratyaya, because kartari krut. So if nothing else was mentioned, every krut pratyaya comes kartari. Apavada nasti chet. There is no apavada. And then pratyekasya krut pratyasya kartari artha bhavati. Atva pratyekaha krut pratyaya kartari pravartate, I should say. Karta artha, it becomes karta arthe. It becomes in that meaning. And that sutram is 3.4.67. 3.4.67. So all these things which you saw just now about the bhave and the akartri they were apavadas for that. They were required because otherwise there would be kartari krit would have come. Let's go there for a section for a second. Let's go to that section for a second, I should say. I'm talking too fast. So 3.4.67. Here it comes that kartari krit. So this is a blanket statement, okay? Any krut pratyaya. So all the way from the kudating to down here, all these come kartari artha. And then of course you have the lakarmani chakabhave chakarmake. We use all this time when we do the tingantas and all that. The lakara adeshas, they can come karmani and bhave also. We use this sutram all the time, right? Lakarmani cha bhave chakarmake bhyaha. But otherwise, barring lakara adeshas, all your krut pratyaya, they are kartari krit. So therefore we don't have to search for an adhikara of kartari because it's already that's a default meaning. Now as we saw earlier today, but this entire section from 3.3.18 to about 3.3 all the way down to napumsake, karnadikarana yosha, this whole section is blocked out. So if you're looking for a kartari artha pratyaya usage, this entire thing is blocked out. So from 3318 to 33117, you don't have to look. It's not going to be there. It's not going to be there because they're not Kartari. They're gone. The other thing is that because the Krut Pratyaya start from Krudating, from 3190-ish, 92, 93, something like that. And the very first thing Panini takes up is the Krudating. So 3193 starts Krudating. Okay, they only start from here. Prior to that, even though Dhatoho is coming, they are not Krut Pratyaya. So they will not create Pratipadikams. So only from 3193 onwards, up to the Lasya Adhikara from 3477, this is the entire section we form Pratipadikams. The Lasya is going to get the Tipta G, so they will not be Krut Pratyaya. So only from 3193 to 34 up to that 77. This is the entire place we have all participles, all the nouns, adjectives formed from dhatus are all in this section. Now within that, the very first section which Panini takes is the Krityaha. So Kritya Pratyaya, Krityaha Prang Nvalaha. So from this 3195, okay, let me mention one more thing by the which I passed upon, but look at this sutram. Vasarupo Striyam. Very important sutram. Very important sutram. I don't know if I've taken it in the previous class or not, but it is worth mentioning. What this says is that, see, normally when you have any vidhi, and it becomes a Vishesha vidhi, it will become an apavada for the Utsarga. Utsarga will be overruled by that. But in this Krut Adhikara, if it is not a Sarupa Pratyaya, if it is not the same, Sarupa means that after, Anubandha Lope, when you do Anubandhas, if it's not of the same form, same Pratyayas, then it will become Va. So you can have two Pratyayas in the same meaning, staying as long as they're not Sarupa. Samana Rupa Nasti Chet. So a quick example. The very first, but Astriyam. Astriyam. So Striyam, when he says Striyam Tin, and Panini says, and then he creates an apavada for one of the other sutras. Then the Tin will be overruled. Will be overruled. So Astriyam. And then they also say, there are some complication with this rule, but just remove it for the time being, is that in the Krudadhikara, if you are Hindu is a question.
Satishji, I'm backtracking a little bit, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But the Striyam Tin, when Antoine says in point 130 about the, feminine, the bhave, abstract nouns, he's not just talking about tin, right? Even the apratyayat and all those ang, they're also involved.
I think he's talking about ting. I think he's only talking about ting, but we have to include the others now also.
We have to include the others too, right?
The apavada
apavada of tin, right?
Apigrahitavya. So apigrahya. So we have to take apavada also. We have to take. I think he's not mentioning them here, but you're right. I think he's referring to the whole adhikara. We have to mention about that. So. Okay, again, I think my web is going down, so you probably won't be able to see my page, but you can still hear me. It comes back. It'll come back after a little while.
Now, the Vasarupos Striyam, will that apply to within the Striyam? It will not apply.
Exactly. So within the Striyam, the Va Asurupa is not there. Right. So this go back to the usual Apavada Vidhi.
Apavada Vidhi. Mm-hmm. So
let's take a quick example. In fact, again, you probably won't be able to see my screen because my web is not working. But I'm looking at the 3493. When we look at the Striyam Tin 3394, we were below that. There is a sutra which says, apratyayat, for example, apratyayat. In fact, let's take Anuji's name, Anusuya, right? So Asuya is a namadhatu. Asuya is a namadhatu. And then when you want to form the feminine noun from a namadhatu, you don't use Striyam. When you have any derived dhatu, pratyayanta, then what you do is that, okay, I think my screen is coming back. Let me share my screen again. Okay. So you can see my screen again now. So I was talking about Sutram Apratyayat. It's 33102. Okay, this is just take an apavada, example of an apavada, okay. So when you take this example, when you have any derived dhatu, then you cannot use Triyamtin. You have to use Pratyaya A. When you form the Anasuya plus A, then you will get the ato gune become anus. Then you add the top, becomes asuya. So dhatu was asuya, so nama dhatu. You should not use triyamtin after that. It becomes asuya only. So this is the usual. It overrules the utsarga. Even next sutra, the gurosh chahalaha. Gurosh chahala says if you have a halanta dhatu, which has a guru vowel in there, like a dhatu like iha. You say iha means, you say ihante kamabhogatam, Gita Adhyaya 16. Iha is to strive. You get the feminine noun iha, it becomes iha. Not, you don't use triyamtin. It doesn't come. So when you have the dhatu like, you have dhatu raksha. Raksha is also because of the sanyoge guru. The raksha is ending in a hal. Also has a guru, it becomes raksha. You will not get the triyamtin. So these will overrule triyamtin. So this is in the triyamadhikara, only in this 394 to 1. But any other krut pratyayas, they can be two krut pratyayas in the same meaning, as long as they're not the same letter, samana rupa nasti. So important. And we saw that in the potential parts. In the kritra pratyaya itself, we saw that. We have the tavya, aniya, and we have three kinds of ya. The ruhalor nyat, acho yat, and we have the kyap also. The nyat, the kyap, and the yat, anubandha lope ya. So that is samana rupa asti. So only one of them can say the general rule, but the tavya and aniya can still coexist. I can say shrotavya, shravaniya, can say, right? So shravya. So these three can stay together. But those three yas, only one of them can stay. That's a very important rule also, because that's the 3194, I think. 94, yes. Kruda thing. So these are all very important. So dhato starts from here. Dhato. And tatropadam saptamistam. Tatropadam saptamistam, which also we saw. Anything saptami in this adhikara, which is not has a regular meaning, will be upapada. Kruda thing, very important. So in this third dhatu adhikara, which is not a thing, will be krut pratyaya. Then vasarupo striyam, also we saw it just now, which is barring the stri adhikara, anywhere else in the same meaning you can have two or more pratyayas staying there. Then comes pratkrityaha prang nulaha. So up to the nul, we get the kritya pratyayas. Why am I mentioning that here? Because the krityas don't come kartari arthe. So up to the pratyaya nul, and the nul I think is 130, nul truchau. So up to 133 is the kritya adhikara is going down. And those do not come kartari. Why not? Because we said kartari krit. Then what happened to the, because it says tayoreva krityakta kalarthaha. So therefore, there's an apavada is there. Is these kritya pratyayas, the pratyakta, and the kal arthaha, any kal in the meaning of kal. All these only go in the bhava and karma. So if you're looking for a krut pratyaya, so what we're trying to now take out those sections in this dhatu adhikara, where we don't have kartari. So we start from kruda thing. So very first section, no kartari. Kritya adhikara is there. So up to 133, you don't have to look, because they're not going to be any kartari. So what is left behind now? So what's left behind is, so this is very useful, because if you're looking for a pratyaya in kartari arthe, there are many sections are ruled out for you. You have to look at them. So you only have to look from, so what is left behind now? We look left behind only from this 3-1. So this is from 3-1-133, nul through chau, up to end of 3-1. This is one important section for the krit pratyaya in kartari arthe. Because here the default kartari krit will hold. It will not be overruled. Okay. So that's number one. Now, so this is one section, 3-1-133 up to end of 3-1, okay? And it's only about, about 18 sutras are here. Now, from starting 3-2, we start the upapada samasas, karmanyan. So these are all for only Upapada Samasas only. If you're looking for a stand-alone Krut Pratyaya in Kartari Arthe, you don't need this because they are not the only Upapada Samasas only are formed. So 3 to 1 up to 3 to 100, all of these, they come in this only for Upapada Samasas. Okay, and then starts the Bhute Adhikara, Nishtha and all that is starting here. So these are also not very common, not very good place to look for the Kartu Arthe Pratyayas, because this is a different Adhikara is going on. He's talking about all the, the Anajatane, Lang, and the Parakshe, Lit, and all these. So these Pratyayas are also not going to be, because they are all the Lakara, all the Lakara Nishtha are coming here. So they are not a very good place to look for. So far we found only one good place, which is from 3.1.133 to end of 3.1. So even though the Kartikut was default, mostly they'll come. There are some here in here, by the way. There are some in the end of 3.2. There are some Pratyas. The Pratyaya Trin is coming here, 3.2.135. There are some in here, but that's not the main section. Main section is still there. I mean, 3 dot. This is a long pada and a lot of. So there are some sneaky ones in here in the end of 3.2. Now we saw 3.3. We saw this Pratyaya Numul, Tumun Numul was started. Nul was started. So not very, very important. And then again from 3.3.18.19 starts the Bhave and this Adhikara. So that is all wiped out, all the way to 117. So now we are left with only a small section here, which is from 3.3.1.18 to end of 3.3. Not even to end of 3.3, because there he starts the Lakarartha Prakriya. Is from the in what meanings the Lakaras will come. So that will I think that starts from this one. Yeah, this one. From 3.3.1.31, Panini starts what's called the Lakarartha Prakriya. In Siddhanta Kaumudi is a separate section for this, is that in what meanings the various Lakaras can be used. So clearly, in that we are not going to find any Kartari Arthe Pratyayas. So from this one, the Vartamana Samipya Vartamana Vadva, from there all that. Then he starts, Lut can be used, this can be used. But there is one small section here, which is from 3.3.1.18 to 1.30. There are some Pratyayas in here, okay? There are some here can be used. So there are some here. And then beginning of 3.4, we saw most of them was that the Namul which we saw last time. A lot of them start from there. So not very many Pratyayas there either. So what are we left with now in Kartari Arthe? Big section, important one are those sutras at the end of 3.1. Then end of 3.2 also there are some, and some in this 3.3 after this Napumsake after that. So there are only small pockets. So what I'm trying to tell you is that even though Kartari Krut is a blanket statement for all Krut Pratyayas, as it turns out, the big sections are taken out. Of course, the end of 3.4 is all the Lasya Adhikara is there, so those are all gone. Prior to that, you have this Namul section, which you saw last class, or 50 sutras for Namul, or 30, 40 sutras, they are all gone. Then the entire, this Triyam thing is gone. The Ghai and all those are gone. Krityas, those are gone. Lakarartha Prakriya, that is gone. So only small sections are left now for us. So let's see what Antoine is starting with. So that's, I just give you the topography of Ashtadhyayi. This may be too much for you, but I hope not. But someday you have to learn how to use the Ashtadhyayi. It's good to, practice a little bit. Practice. So he says the first he says is why is he starting with this one? Because look at the very first sutram that we have in the Kartari Arthe, Nul Trichau. So after we finish with the Kritya Adhikara, Krityaha, the very first one that we start with is this one, the 3.1.133, I think it is Nul Trichau. These are all very important sutras, okay? This 3.1.133 down to the end of the pada, which is up to Ashishi. These are all quite important sutras over here. Of course, some of them are specifically for some dhatus and things. But Nul Trichau, this did not say which dhatu can take. So sarvebhya dhatubhya pratyadvayam vidhiyate. These can come after all dhatus. But doesn't mean every dhatu has to have this usage in every this pratyaya, because they say anabhidhanat. Anabhidhanat because it's not in usage. Even the Panini says it is available to use, for some reason it has not been used. So Panini does not delve into that. By the way, he does not say that unless it's really prohibited by something, then he will say no, don't use this. But anabhidhanat is not covered by Panini. It is just a usage as per the way the language has developed. So you should not take every single dhatu and make this one, because it may not be used for some reason. But as a starting point, any dhatu can take this pratyaya. This nul and trich. And by kartari krut, they are going to be kartari arthe. In the nul, what are the 8 letters? Because the chutu, pratyayadi chavarga tavarga, so nakara is the itsanyakaha. Then you also have the halantyam. Halantyam, the lakara, and the lit, that lit karanam is for Veda Svararthe. So asmakam projanam nasti. But the nit, obviously, you have the atopadhayaha. You will have the, you also have the achorniti. So this, the moment you say nit or the chavarga, panchama, nit pratyaya, should immediately come to this section, which is from achorniti. Start from there and go all the way down to into 3.3, I think 7.3. Start from end of 7.2, achorniti. The moment you say nit pratyaya or the nit pratyaya, the chavarga panchama or tavarga panchama, my pronunciation is not the best, but you know what I mean, chavarga or tavarga panchama as an it, then you have to come down with achorniti, and which is 72115, and go down to 7.3 around 36ish. So that is the entire section where Pani talks about all the nit and yit karyam. Okay, so this is the entire section, and this one is important. Ato yukchin krutoho, we have seen that one also. We see the arti ri vli. This one we have seen. This one the pug agama, the ratham sthapaya mechuta. Ratham sthapaya comes in Gita. The puk agama is seen. Then the no pratyaya follows. So these are all coming down here. Okay. So that's what when you add the nul, and then what is the wu? Yuvaranakau. Yuvaranakau is the yu and the wu. Yuvaranakau. Ana and aka yathasankyam adesha bhavati. Then why have the wu in the why not put the ana? First of all, because Panini saved one vowel there. This wu comes in many places, so he just puts wu, like for example we have the jo antaha. Why have the g? Because there it has also apavada, because it has the other vyastar and all that. Plus, instead of saying anti, you can just say g. So if you have wu, you can make, instead of saying the yuvaranaka, you're saying aka. You can just say wu. So that is that's beginning of 7.1. Also mentioned to 7.1 many times. All the pratyaya adeshas come in beginning of 7.1. When I was learning this Ashtadhyayi, I have to hear from a teacher 100 times. He told me it's 100 times that all the pratyaya adeshas, if you want to look in beginning of 7.1. Ato bitha ej, jashashi, the tuolyap, all these ata aunalaha, niryaha, sarvanamna smai. So all these pratyaya adeshas 7, and very first one is yuvaranakau. Yuvor, that is the in Shashti Ekavachanam. In place of that, you have to use the ana and the aka respectively. So the pratyaya becomes aka with the na as an it. So let's see what Antoine example what he gives. Actually, this is not a valadi pratyaya. Don't have to worry about this being any of the idagama complications. It's just going to be it's only going to be the vriddhi complications are going to come. And so the section we will look at is achonitya into 7.3. That's what you need to look at. So he says anubandha, and he has put the one as naka. It should really be nul, okay? Because Panini has already made the yuvaranako, but you should keep it as nul, okay? The anubandha na ordains vriddhi of a final. Final is a typo in the book. It should be a final vowel, okay? Because only ach only can take guna vriddhi. phalas have no guna vriddhi, etc. So that's achoniti, which you just saw that. And penultimate is atopadhayaha. Addition of ya after roots ending in a, I, o. Okay, let's look at that for a second. That is the ato yuk chinkritoho. Ato yuk chinkritoho. And then the one that we want to look at is, okay, excuse me for 1 second, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm back. So this one we're looking at the Ato Yuk Chinkritoho. So I think we saw it already before. See it again. It comes in the Lalita Sasana Stotram Sharma Daini. Let's see. I think something similar comes there. So beginning of 7.3, as I mentioned to you. Anurti comes from the Niti Anurti comes, and here it is. Ato yuk chinkrutoho. If you have any adanta, anga, and if you have anga sadikara, of course, and you get that takes the yuk agama. With the following pratyaya, either the chin pratyaya, which we don't have, or any krut pratyaya, which is nit or nit. That's when we get this one. Now, why does it say also includes the a, I, o, au? Because of the adesh upadesha shiti. Also very important sutram which we saw. This only requires the adanta anga, it requires ataha. But when you say like a word like dayakaha, dhatu da, dhayakaha, these like, but by 6145, we know any dhatu ending in a H will become a akara adesha, ashiti pare. And since we are adding the pratyaya nul, this is going to be ashiti all the time. So it's going to be, immediately it becomes like gayakaha. Dhatu gai becomes gayakaha, which is the one who sings, gayakaha. So that's 6145. So it's then this is a nitya karyam. So the moment you have ad echaha, upadesha ashiti. So when you have this in dhatu patha, you should have it. Not by guna, you should not become, ejanta by any guna process. It should be ejanta in the dhatu patha. Okay? So when bhu becomes bho, then that is not to be, it will not come under this domain. Okay, but if it is a ejanta in the dhatu part upadeshe, and if you know the pratyaya coming is not the talavya sha as an it, then immediately before you do anything else, make it into an adanta. So all these dhatu in dhatu patha, which are given with the a, o, I, au antas, dhatu like jai. Even though it says jai, if you know the pratyaya coming is not going to be a talavesha in it, you should immediately make it dhyan, make it dhyanam, jnanam, so make it dhyanam. So it will become dhyan, it will not become jai prasanai. So this is the first thing you want to do. So that is why, so this takes care of all the, a, I, o, au antas. They become akarantas. Pratyaya is ashiti pare. So 6145 you do first. And then only you start doing everything else. Even before you begin the pratyaya, as long as you know it's coming, you just make it adanta and start like that only. So gai becomes ga, then you use the ato ichinkrutoho and then make it into the gayakaha. So that's how, and that number again is 7-3. But so this section is easy once you know this is 7-3-33. So that this is the section you want to come into. That's what Antoine is telling. So I think that's it. Gives some examples here. So ni becomes nayakaha. So we haven't used our file today. Let's use it. Ni becomes nayakaha. Of course, you all know this. But keval udghatanartham darshishyamyaham. We can use my file. So when you have ni plus nul, again chutu, halantyam, yuvaranakau becomes aka. And then you can get the achonyati vriddhi becomes nai. And then aka in echo yavayavaha becomes nayakaha. So very easy, nothing really hard, because now we see all the other rules we already know. So really there is no new rule here for the anga karya. We already know all the rules. We have used Atauchin Kruto. Okay. We already used the Adesh Upadesha Shiti. So nothing new. All these rules are already, and this is the good thing of learning the Paninian way. You don't have to keep on repeating this all the time. The moment you say Nit, you know you're going to have the Yuk Agama. The moment you say Ajanta, you know you can use the Adesh Upadesha. So these are things we don't need anymore. So nothing here is new to us. All known to us. So it becomes Nash becomes Nashakaha, is Vinashakaha, is the Atopadhaya, is given the example. So this was Achonyati, this is Atopadhayaha. Then Mochaka, he's giving example of the Puganta Lugupadasicha Gunaha. So much Mochakaha, Vimochakaha. So Dayakaha, again this is Akaran Dhatu to begin with, one who gives. The same, the Yuka Agama is there. And then Pachakaha, he has given the Atopadhayaha. The one he has not given, you can add the dhatu Gai, becomes Gayakaha. Because you use the Atu Unchikrutoho, Adesh Upadesha Shiti, and then use the Atu Yukchinkrutoho. So that's what you use. So that completes. So this Patya is from this simple sutram, Nul Truchao. It did not say which dhatus can take, so all dhatus this is available to all dhatus, and because of Kartari Krit, it is Kartari Arthe. So that is done. And the same sutram is the next one. He's saying the Pratya Trich is here. Trich, okay. So, and here I think the comment I've written in my book is that Shastriji has mentioned in this page 36 of volume 3, that normally this cha, this sutra and this Vedic Adhikara, this Chitiya sutram is there, I think, which forms which has some swara implication. But here it is used, the Patya Trun also is the Trun. The Trich and Trun, they can be grouped together. So sometimes he will use like that, Pani will put a Anubandha just for grouping purpose. So they may not have any other prayojanam. So he can refer to Tru as to Trich and Trun, he can collectively can say Tru. So that may be just I'm talking about the Halantyam, this Chakara here. Anyway, it doesn't concern doesn't affect any of the thing that we are doing here. Now this has no nit or yit, so there's no, you don't have to worry. Simply have to worry about, but then you have to use about the now here you have to think about the idagama. But see, the prior one, the good news was there was no idagama because there was the akka, not valadi. This one is valadi pratyaya. So you have to think about idagama, like patitru. Patitru is one who reads. But if it is, so then you have to go to our usual, the karikas, kanteshu, dhanteshu, manteshu, all that you have to. But the good news, I think there are no real major exceptions within that. So once you go to the dhatu patha, if it is a said dhatu, it's going to have the idagama and the trich most likely. Anit is going to have the anit. And this is not, there's no kit, no nit, no nit, no yit. So this is all that is very easy. So you just do of course you'll take the default Puganta Guna, Lagupata Guna, and also the Antya Achaha Guna, I'll take that. So examples given in the same sutram, Nul Trichau, same 31133. So meaning is only Kartari, that's all. It says Ni becomes Netru, Gam becomes Gantru, Da becomes Datru, and Bhru becomes Bhartu. So he has taken the Guna, Savadhatu Gardhaka Gunaha, the Gam becoming Gantru, because you can see here we did not lose the Makara here. Because the Sutram Anudata Padesha, Vanasitanotyadi, Namanasika, that is only Jhalado Kitnit Pratyaya. This is Jhaladi. It's not Kitnit, so they become Gantru only. So they will not lose the Makara. So the 6437 will not apply here. Will not apply here. Because of the fact that this is not a Kitnit Pratyaya footing. It is Jhaladi, but not. So you only do the Anuswara Parasavarna. Da becoming Dhatu, these are all Anit Dhatus he has taken, okay? All these are Anit Dhatus. But there he does mention the next, Bhru becomes Bhartru, because same thing, the Guna Karyam, that's all. And the Uranda Paraha. For many verbs insert E. That's why I was talking, Idagama you taken into account. For declension, okay, declension, these are, by the way, not nouns. So you make a correction, these are adjectives. You have a word like, we'll have a word like Netri, word like Gantri, Datri, Bhartri, so it will become feminine. will also go in neuter. Also go in neuter. Comes in Dev Mahatmyam. Viryancha Hantri. Dev Mahatmyam, chapter number 4. The word Hantri comes in neuter form. Because someday you'll be stumped. You just see the word Hantri, and it's qualifying the Viryam of the Devi. Comes in Hantri. So that's a neuter nominative singular. Maybe mostly it's nominative. So these are not nouns. They are adjectives. Why are they not nouns? Because nobody said they should be in the masculine or, striyam or napumsake, nothing like that. So everything is going to be default. It's not sanyayam. These are the ways how you know that you have a noun. With sanyayam, it should be specific name of something, or it might be, specifically limited to a gender. But these are not like that. They are adjectives. Now, if you quickly look at, we're almost out of time. I want to cover one thing next time. I'll just mention some sections. I want to talk about a little bit about karakas here. Like karakas. For example, say Vanasya Shobham Pashyan Ramaha Gacchati. So Rama goes looking at the beauty of the forest. So Shobham Pashyan. Use Dvitiya Vibhakti with that. Karma, it becomes karma. Dvitiya Vibhakti. So now what is that? What is the thing that? Let me quickly point out these 2-3 sutras, and we are out of time. We start with that next time. But if you have can refresh, maybe read on your own, you can see in the Karaka section. Okay, we have, for example, the first is Karmani Dvitiya. Karmani Dvitiya. So, and what is karma? Kartuho ipsitamam karma. So that which he wants to accomplish the most, that becomes the karma. That comes in 1.4. We've seen many, many times. So when Rama wants to see the beauty of the forest, so Vanasya Shobham Pashyan Ramaha Gacchati. So he wants to see clearly the beauty is his ipsisatama. He wants to see that. So you should have had the Karmani Dvitiya. Then what's the big deal? Why am I bringing this about? No, because of the fact that there is a Sutram 2365. And this is the one that I want you to bear in mind, is that Kartru Karmanoha Kriti, this puts Shashti Bhakti. If you have a Krit Pratyaya, which we are looking at right now, we are looking at all Krit Pratyayas right now, okay? And the Kartru and the Karma of the Krit Pratyaya goes in Shashti. So now we are stuck. So it should be what? Vanasya Shobhayaha Pashyan, but that is not the right form. So this 2365, please keep in mind all the time. The moment you have a Krit Pratyaya, then the Karta of that and the Karma of that should go in Shashti. Now what do we do? And that has a very important Apavada. This 2365 is started by 2369. Naloka Vyaya Nishtha Kalartharthanam. So these pratyayas, all these pratyayas, right? They will go back to Dvitiya. Actually, I'm talking about the. We don't need this right now. I'm sorry, I'm confusing one thing. When I was talking about the Vanasya Shobham Pashyan, that is the I was looking at Shatru Pratyaya. Shatru Pratyaya. That's a Lakara Adesha. Right now we are talking about the word like Karta, Harta. So that will take Shashti only. So we say, what do you say? Setoho, Setu, Setoho Karta. So Bhashyasya Karta. So the maker of the Bhashyam. So he is the maker of the Bhashyam. So what he is making is the Bhashyam. So the Apavada we don't need right now because we have only have Shashti only. This Apavada will be used when I gave the other example of the Shobham Pashyan Gashyati. There is an Apavada. When the Shatrupati is Lakara Adesha, the Lat Adesha it is, it goes back to Dvitiya. But here we had the karma of what he is doing. Let's say Bhashyam Karoti. Bhashyam Karoti. So Bhashyasya Karta he becomes. Now how you got Shashti? Because that's karma of what he is doing, right? We should have had the Karma Dvitiya we should have had. But this 2365 will put the Shashti here. Shashti works for us in our example. For us, the Nul and Truch, Shashti will work fine. That is correct. But then you get stuck when you look at other Krit Pratyayas, and how come we are showing other time we are not doing Shashti, we are doing Dvitiya? That's because of this 2369. Okay, that is the one thing. We'll start with this the next time around. I want to look at this. Also, declension of he's talking about. Also, we know these sutras now, which is the one is the Nisarvanamastanayoho gunaha. So we have in 7.3, right? Gunos 3 no. So when you have the rukarantas, we have when we have the pratyagni, which is the saptami ekavachanam or the sarvanamasthana, we get the guna. So we're going to come to 7.3. Where is that? 7.3. I know it's in 7.3.
You get Anangadesha also, right?
Anangasha Saupare only.
Yes.
Rutosiro. So one I'm talking is 7.3.1.10. Rutoni Sarvanamasthana Yoho. That covers the Ni and Sarvanamasthana. And then, as Kalpeji said, you get the Anangade. That's 7.1, right, Kalpeji? 7.1? Rudushana, right?
Yeah, Rudushana Pradhamsa Niyam Sanskrit.
Yeah. What number is that? 7.1, I think, right? Rudushana. Here it is. So 7.194 will do the Anangadesha Saupar. It becomes Karta, Harta, Bharata, like that. Become like Rajan Shabda, Karta. Remaining Sarvanamasthana, you get the Guna, but there's 7.3 number I gave you. I think 7.3.1.10, I think it is. 7.3. So it become like, Kartaram. So it become like that. Now, one more thing is that, okay, I'll just mention this sutra and we're going to stop now. Time is up. So keep in mind this 7.3.1.10, one sutram. We'll do this next time. And we got the 7.1, the Anangadesha, 7.194. And then one more thing you want to keep in mind is the 6.4 section, where he talks about some dirghas here also.
6.4.11.
6.4.11. Aptrantrich, this one, 6.4.11. Aptrantrich, swastru, naptru, neshtru, tashtru, kshatru, hotru, potru, spashastrunam. So trich and truna is 6.4.11. That's why you get kartaram. It becomes kartaram. Okay, so let's stop with that. We'll start with this next time. We look at 6.4.11. Look at the Anangadesha, look at the Guna. We talk about the Karaka again. Again, we don't need the Apavada for the Karaka here. We just Shashti will work fine. So, but that should keep that in mind. So let's stop with that. And then we can take question. Indu has a question. We'll take this one, then we'll stop. Yes, Indu. Indu? No. Okay. Okay. I'll stay here for a few minutes to take questions. Okay. Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje. Ramena Vyata Nishachara Chamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Raman Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham. Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhautame Bhorama Mamudhara. Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame. Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Sri Ramanama Varanana On Nama Iti. Indu, you have a question, Indu?